Karma. What is it and how does it work? Well, it's a really big topic these days as we can see people actively talking about issues around it, even if they're maybe not talking about karma specifically. And many people are healing and working through family issues as well as personal issues, and in a lot of cases, working in larger communities. So stay tuned because in this video, I'm going to explain what karma is, why most people have it from the time that they're born, and how it affects your life. So my name is Kira Lescu of the Eagle Institute. So let's start with just defining karma. So karma is any pattern that repeats over and over again, whether it seems as if it's happening to you, or it's the way in which you respond to situations which cause things to happen over and over again. And through law of attraction, we continue to attract situations to ourselves over and over again. And usually we think of karma in a negative sense, like we're attracting things or we're living through life situations and experiences that we don't really want to happen. And what we need to do with these situations and why they happen is that we need to work through them and figure out what we should have been doing, not what caused them, but how to respond to them appropriately so that they don't happen anymore. And we stop attracting these situations to ourselves. So that's a little bit abstract. So let me give you a concrete example because it'll be easier to understand. So I was working with somebody that specifically brought up the issue of self-sabotage. She could articulate very clearly what needed to happen in a certain area of her life. She knew what the answers were and wasn't doing those things. And said, this is clearly self-sabotage. I am getting in my own way. The truth is that I don't even mind doing the things that I need to do to get to the outcome that I want, but I always find a way to avoid it. And I had to laugh because honestly, I've done the same thing many times in the past, as you know, do a lot of people. And the reason why I picked this example to use of self-sabotage because it's one of the most common categories of karmic patterns that we see, or that I see when I'm working with people. So what's the origin of that? Well, when we have a karmic issue, we can't always explain it. Sometimes it can be explained by our family history. You can say, oh, I can see this pattern. My mother does it, my father does it, my grandparents did it, my aunts and uncles did it. So there can often be a family history, whether it's a mental or emotional or physical habit, or even in terms of diseases. But then sometimes we see things where clearly it is not an issue that other people in the family have to any great extent. It could be a really strong fear that someone has about doing a particular thing, or it could even be a behavior like self-sabotage. So maybe nobody else in your family does it, but you do. This is also a karmic pattern if you see it recurring over and over again. So what happens when we have a karmic pattern is usually in the initial stages, it's pretty unconscious. So that may be, you know, early childhood, maybe even to teens. And for some people, this could even be very late in life that they're repeating things over and over again. And honestly, expecting a different result, even though they're doing the same things over and over again. So anytime you see a pattern like that, that is a karmic pattern. The challenge with these is that if we have intellectual understanding, just like in my example, that's not always enough to make the change. So in order to get rid of karmic patterns, we need to transform and heal them. And there are 7 different ways, or 7 different main categories of ways in which you can do that. And for simple patterns, maybe just one of these is enough. You may have to do multiples if it's a really deep pattern. But what happens when you clear the karma is that you have the first stage is you will have that situation come up. So maybe let's go back to the self-sabotage ones. An instance comes up when you would normally in the past have done a behavior that's self-sabotaging. Maybe it's procrastination, maybe it's actively doing something that's going to prevent you from getting the outcome you want. So maybe you have a job interview and you go in and right off the bat you insult the person who's doing the hiring and making the decisions. So that's a blatant one, but there can be many others that are less obvious. So if you do the internal healing work and clearing work of the karma, then the next time you're presented with a situation like that one, you won't engage in that behavior. You will go in, not necessarily, I would say, like, all guns blazing, but you'll have all things in line mentally, physically, and emotionally so that your chances of success are that much higher. And honestly, it doesn't guarantee success. So maybe, with self-sabotage, maybe you do the stuff that you need to do ahead of time, and that takes you closer to your intended outcome. But, maybe there's some other things you need to work on to get further. But when you eliminate the karma, you can see that there is clear forward movement. And if you continue clearing karma and learning new skills, you will get to the desired outcomes that you want. And you won't have the mental, emotional, or possibly even physical strain that very often accompanies dealing with karmic issues. So if you're having challenges with karma, or you want to learn a little bit more about how karma gets started, leave a comment below. I did cover how it gets started in this video because it's kind of complicated. But if that is something you'd like to learn about, leave that in the comments below. And if you like this video, please subscribe to our channel. We give more tips on how you can improve your life through using skills and tools from meditation. And of course, give us a like, please, if you like the video. If you do want more information, if you want to know what the 7 different ways are to work through karma, we have a free download on our website, theeagleinstitute.com. And you can just go to the section there on karma. And if you want help in doing this, also check out our website. There are many different ways that you can engage with theeagleinstitute.com to make forward progress on your karma.